Hello and welcome to Home of the Hated, Vilified's podcast segment focusing on how we earned that title. More information about that can be found on the website linked in our bio, vilified.com. This time around I have the pleasure of discussing a group known as Vittori. I wasn't sure if I was going to do an episode on them, but one of their members, Joji, commented on our last episode featuring Noah Dargon and asked, as you can see, when the Vittori episode is. If it was any other of their members requesting this, I probably would have ignored it, but Joji's kind of cool. I think he's the most down-to-earth Vittori member, and you can actually have a conversation with him. Not to mention he picked up on a Witcher 3 reference I made in our DMs a while back, so respect gained. I was in a party with Joji the other day, and he actually mentioned that he does not know why the beef between Vilified and Vittori even started in the first place. Now, I'm not sure if he was telling the truth on that, but I like to think in my head that the story of it is so embarrassing for Bang that he refuses to tell his members. For this episode, I rounded up a few of the fellas, and we discussed Vilified's most recent interaction with this group of people. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Not very long ago.
One of those messages from Sin.
Let me check.
What'd they say?
What did he say, if you wouldn't mind reading a couple of them?
Oh, I got a message that literally just said, "A Lannister always pays his
I think they
I
are
was like,
Game
what
of Thrones fans.
I was
watched
like, I don't
that
know
season,
what the
bro.
fuck this means, dude. I was like, what is this? And he started calling me like, fucking Evan. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I think he had me confused for somebody else, but
Well, it appears he had you confused with me, because that's my name. Now, Bang and I we're very close friends. We're on a first name basis. You know, I'm familiar with his name, but I'm not going to say it here because I think that'd be disrespectful to use man's
That's
real
right.
name here. Anyway, I was in a party with these three fine gentlemen following that fight the next day. I was actually during the fight I was sleeping because I got food poisoning because I ate chicken. That tasted funny. Were you guys outnumbered in that fight? You kind of sounded like you were.
it was probably 3-1 or 4-1.
Yeah, so when you guys were out there doing God's work and 4v... Because you said it was 4, right? Did you say someone else was with you, Tater, in that fight, besides you three?
I think Zane may have been there.
He joined for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I do know they parlayed. It was like a three-way fight, and then one team, the other team, they parlayed each other. And they just fell on top of us.
Did they parlay each other, or did one supposedly? I assume who Bang was that he parlayed the other guys because that's what he does, and then started rushing us. More
Yeah, he
specifically,
was,
you, Sin.
He was greedy.
He was going after you, Sin. He hated you.
I think he hated you because he thought you weren't you and were me. So shout out to Zane Train. He was in that fight too. And so while you guys were 4v16ing the whole lobby, I was trying to sleep off food poisoning. I woke up to a yap storm from Zozo. There'll be a different episode about him. I'm not covering him today in great detail.
The king of Manchester.
Yes, I woke up to a yap storm from the King of Manchester and a schizophrenic rant from Bang in my DMs. I don't put much weight on anything that those two say, so I ended up going back to sleep.
But is that any different than like a regular Tuesday, though?
No, it's genuinely not. I ended up going back to sleep, and then I mentioned it to you guys the next day. You know, I said, "Yeah, these guys were fucking saying something about whacking, something about whatever, sending me some pictures of some Red Dead character dead on the ground that had white hair." So I can only assume that they thought any character that has white hair is me. I don't know.
It was one of us.
It's part of the brand.
Despite that basically being like the entire Vilified like fit.
The entire Vilified thing, yes. They sent me, I think Bang added me in a story, and Zozo sent me screenshots of his story, and it showed a Red Dead character. Seems to have been Houston based on the outfit that you're wearing and the outfit that's in that photo. But added me and then saying, "You got whacked, how is the whack, blah, blah, blah." Shit like that. So I ended up going back to sleep after I saw those messages because, again, I don't give a fuck about the things that they say. And then I mentioned it to you guys in the party next day, to which Sin told me about the guy who, the messages he received from that whiskey fellow who appears to have thought that he was me, and then we put it together from there. So Sin asked me who these people were. He asked me who this whiskey guy is, spamming with messages.
I was just in a fight, right, playing with the boys, and I'm like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Is this like something I'm just missing? Like, these people, I have no clue who these people are. I'm like, this seems oddly personal.
Yes, which is exactly how this group of people in particular has taken it to be. So that made me realize, him asking me who these people were, what their beef was, that made me realize that there are a lot of people in my own club that don't even know the stories of, or the entire stories of why we're called the Home of the Hated, or the entire stories of the beefs we have with other crews, other people. And if people in my own crew don't even know some of that stuff, then God knows people in the community don't know.
You're saying there's more people that we have that are just like on like a beef list or something?
Yeah, it's I guess it's a fault of mine that I haven't talked about it enough with everyone in the crew. I mean, I know Tater and Grog are well aware of the Vittori folk that, we're talking about today. But
Yeah, I think I was there for all that.
Well, I guess to be fair, I don't really play Red Dead a lot since I don't really play Xbox until you got me the account for Red Dead, but...
Yeah. But, that's what we're trying to remedy here today. So, to talk about Bang and why he hates us, well, this is what started it.
Revealing one embarrassing snapshot of SpongeBob at the Christmas party!
What you just saw there is what people in the very small, very niche Red Dead Mafia community, or at least what used to be the Red Dead Mafia community, would call a whacking. Sin, before we continue, would you like to join me at the bar for a bit of a drink?
Sure, why not?
All right, let's get her going.
Let's go with some music, Tater.
That's exactly what I was
Of
thinking.
course, Becky while I'm doing this as well, actually.
All right, look at that. Ah, beautiful. Cheers. To prosperity.
Always.
Come back over here. We then spoke of many things. I told him how the Mafia community used to look like this. I told him what a whack was. I told him why we went after Vittori in the first place, because a crew called Scar had one day invited us to a party and informed us that Vittori had hired them to go after us. Them, having heard of us, didn't want to do that, and respected us enough to let us know what was going on. I told him how I never did bother to find out if they were telling the truth or not, because I didn't care. Vilified is known for striking first, we're known for the setup, and we're known for the ambush. I told him about the day we set up Vittori and whacked Bang and Skull. I told him about how Bang wouldn't join our game unless he saw that we were in Saint Denis, because that was a safe area at the time in the Mafia community and he couldn't be whacked there. I spoke of how we outsmarted Vittori and lured them in with a false sense of safety, about how we invited them to the game while appearing online and while we were in Saint Denis, but then how as they were loading in, we ran outside of its boundary into the bayou. I talked about how it went even more smoothly than we knew it would, about how important it is to know thine enemy and to have people in their chats, and about how we were really only going for the Don, but how their under-Don happened to be there too and just ended up being a nice little bonus. I mentioned how on our way to deliver the bodies, the legendary Ghost Panther came in and nearly screwed us over, because if you die on the way to deliver the bodies, the whole thing's invalid. Luckily, I was there and stopped it. To this day, we think about how crazy it would have been if that's the reason that this whole thing fell through. I recalled experiencing Bang argue the validity for hours and hours and hours, only to be struck down by unanimous opposition from an Aldon's vote. And to befall an all but brutal conclusion, where Conduit, Khan for short, who played a significant role in building the community this all took place in, and who actually ended up being Bang's mentor, was the one who was ultimately tasked with breaking the news to him that it was all over and that he'd been got. He was completely fucking bamboozled. He thought we'd be in Saint Denis. He joined our game not in defensive mode, not ready for fucking anything, completely caught with his pants down, hogtied his crew. Not even was he just hogtied and whacked, but Vittori was set up. We killed them all in the game. It was fucking beautiful.
You traumatized him. He refuses to fight us on, even ground. He always instants or debos us. Except for that one time in Braithwaite Manor where I whooped ass. But they usually just instant and debo us, which requires us to go, huddle into a hole, so they can't do that.
I like
Except for that one
Thailand,
time.
same to me.
Except for that one time we're bang challenging to 1v1. Cue the screenshot.
Ah, yes,
And,
the time when this was when Grog wasn't even fully a member of Vilified. You'll see he doesn't have the Vilified gamer tag yet, but
That's he doubted me.
he doubted him.
Me. And I whooped
Wasn't
his
there a
ass.
dude named Khan?
Oh yeah, so Khan is a let's people say retired. I think that's a stupid word to use when you're talking about video game communities, but whatever. Let's conduit, whatever, retired, previous, somewhat known name in the Mafia community. He essentially was or is something Bang's mentor. He kind of got him into the Mafia stuff. He taught him whatever. Obviously didn't teach him enough, but he taught him this and that.
I think we also blew him out too. I remember we were in Thieves Landing. That's back when we had more talk.
Yes.
And they were doing a meeting, and I was sitting in at the meeting, being like a guard or some shit. And then they got out of the boat, and they walked the road, and they were all talking about some shit. And War Dog and somebody else came riding in like cavalry with Devos and blew everybody up. It was very cinematic.
Yeah, they killed everyone. They blew everybody up. He executed Khan with like I think it was a bolt action rifle. He executed him, and then bang, you see him in that video, and I'll play it here. Running away after Khan was executed and he got shot in the back of the head.
Nah.
Yeah, it's quite a fun video. He's still just as passionately angry as he was the day it happened, which I think, if I'm gonna be honest, is
Some props.
I guess, but it is one of the reasons that I mentioned earlier that I haven't responded to his Instagram messages or any kind of communications from him since about, I think it was like April of 2025 that I said. April 2025. This is because he challenged us to a 7v7 in Red Dead. So, all right, so you called us out. It's our rules, I told him, which is typically how it goes in Red Dead. If someone calls you out, it's like, all right, and then you give them the rules. The only rules that I gave him was, one, the gamer tags, okay, just to make sure, you know, it's actually Vilified Fighting Vittori and not fucking Vilified Fighting Vittori plus imports. And for him to answer a questionnaire about his crew. It included some questions. I'll see if I could find it. If I could find it, I'll put it on the screen. But it included some questions just about the crew, about how long they've been a thing, about just certain things that, I don't know, certain assets they have, like a website, like a page, or certain view counts on their posts, follower counts. The reason for doing that is because I don't like to waste my own time. I don't like to waste any of our time. And Vilified has been around for a while. We've earned the right to kind of choose how we spend our time. I'm not going to spend my time in any capacity fighting or entertaining people that, just to put it plainly, don't deserve it, that aren't worth our time, that are nobodies. He did not answer that questionnaire. He chose not to. He said he's not giving me personal information. I didn't ask for any personal information whatsoever. I just asked for like simple public information about his organization just to make sure we're on the same page. He didn't answer it because clearly the answers to the questionnaire would be embarrassing for him. And then so I was like, all right, well, then we're not doing it. Like, you didn't accept my rules, my very fucking agreeable. It's not like I said, you know, you guys can only use Cattleman revolvers or anything. No. Answer a few questions. And that was it. He refused. He didn't do it. And then so after that, he proceeded to spam my DMs nonstop. So when are we doing the 7v7? When are we doing it? You're ducking, you're ducking, you're ducking, you're ducking. Originally, my thought for this whole conversation in this video that I'm doing right now was to invite him into the party and have a conversation with him. Then I thought about it a little more, and I figured that, well, that's not going to work because every time we've been in a party with him and his guys would do nothing but ear rape the mic, be toxic, scream slurs, play fucking bass-boosted music. You can't have a conversation with these people if they don't like you. They're just going to be toxic and loud, and it's not worth trying. I'd forgotten to mention that Vittori actually shut down. This screenshot is something they posted on July 22nd of 2022. Clearly the result of them biting off more than they can chew. Ultimately, Vittori is known for saying a lot of things that just simply aren't true. An example revolves around their blacklisting from the Mafia community itself. What ended up happening was they blew up a Don's meeting trying to set up Vilified, and then got blacklisted because blowing up a Don's meeting is a big no-no. Now, they did fail to set up Vilified, they only killed one of our guys. But they posted a video afterwards regardless, called The Setup of Vilified. You can see that on their YouTube right now. Additionally, they've also claimed to have whacked several Vilified members following their blacklisting from the Mafia community. You can see those on their page as well. As anyone that takes part in any of this kind of stuff knows, whacking is an in-community thing. And you don't even have to take my word for it. You can listen to Don Winchester say it himself on the Winchester and Vittori Podcast hosted by Khan, who we mentioned earlier. There's a lot of interesting stuff in that post, and I'll also link it in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube. Another lie propagated by Vittori is that Vilified cheats, and that's just not true. We never have and we never will. It's a great pride point of ours that we play clean. In fact, I dare say that we're the cleanest crew to ever be on Red Dead Redemption. So I'm not sure if Vittori lies so much because they are genuinely ignorant or if they are actually trying to convince people of all this false information. We're about to draw to a close here, but I'd like to leave you with, something very special. Now, as we have seen, even in the contents of this episode, Bang loves to play on alts. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but his main Xbox account is not Bang Vittori. That in and of itself is a Red Dead alt. The gamertag on his main Xbox account is LBangmasterL. Now, I'm sure he did that because the gamertag Bangmaster was taken, but I for one think the L's are very fitting. I also think he plays on alts because he's afraid of something happening to him on his main. I'm now going to show something that I'm sure he hopes that I don't have, but I do. I've just never posted it before. I will leave you with
A sad song for you on the world's smallest violin. This is serious. I know. This really is the world's smallest violin.